Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Trober falder ind, ja, Jotun skaber af sig. Dinoen gab, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Trober falder ind, ja, Jotun skaber af sig. Dinoen gab, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Is, Trober falder ind, ja, Jotun skaber af sig.
his burden. I am the face that time forgot.
First, you used these people to win yourself a kingdom, and now you herded them here under threat of being stomped to death by giants if they leave or disobey. After all that they've gone through, all that they've done, all that they've suffered, this is how you intend to repay them?
No kingdom will stand with people like them within its borders. They would have to change their ways. The Del Rita are not ready for this. You know this.
You did worse than all of them combined, and you are the one responsible for all they've done so far. They fought for your name and under your banners. Does this mean you're not fit to be a king? Not ready to have a kingdom?
I left the heritage of Pendragon behind me. I severed the ties between myself and my tribe. I lost all that tied me to the past when I became king. I set a new path for myself. They are not ready to do that.
Bullshit! You forced them to go against their sacred traditions. You destroyed their identities. They betrayed their comrades because you ordered them to. They kidnapped the children of the giants because you told them to do it. Everything they did was so that you could win this war. And now what? You're going to punish them for being your best, fiercest soldiers, most loyal of your men?
This is not...
Oh, stop with your excuses already. You broke them, and now you're abandoning them to starve or freeze to death in these damned lands.
This kingdom needs to be built on peace, Caradoc. Letting them live among merchants, lords, and ladies in Camelot or Timberwall. How would that go?
Exactly as anyone would expect it to go.
So we would end up with a civil war. Right after we won the war that almost annihilated us all.
Oh, damn you. I've had enough. I stood by you through everything. Even what you did to me. To Seawall. I let it all slide. I told myself it was for something. For a noble cause. But this is where I draw the line. I renounce my oaths, and I'm walking away. Put a blade in my back if that helps you sleep. I don't care. Not anymore.
Now I remember it all. I left the best of my people here. I betrayed their loyalty. And for what? Everything. This land, it had a glorious past, but it has no future. There is no way to save it. I know. I see it now. And it was my decision. I may have been right about the diagnosis. Now I see the tribes helped us win the war. They were fearless and followed but I left them broken. I had to do something. The giants sided with our enemy. We had to find a way to remove them from the equation. So, under cover of night, the tribes stole their children. I told the giant, one of the most humiliating moments of that whole war, both for me and for the Del Rita. I come from the Pendragon bloodline. A heritage that pillaged and fought in the homelands for longer than anyone can remember. And unable to build anything that would... I decided to leave it behind me when we won the war against the Four-Dwellers and built our kingdom on Avalon on stronger foundations. Now we've seen that my bloodline must have been cursed. Caradoc had the clearest eyes of any of us, and I think I destroyed that. Destroyed him with all I did. He used to carry hope. There's nothing left. Nothing worth saving. Nothing worth rebuilding. I gave I betrayed the ones who believed in me. I turned away from my own blood to build something better. And all I built was another ruin. Do what you want. All I've ever done got turned into dust, corrupted.
And future king, you return. Speak your will through the mortal you now inhabit. Is it time for us to awaken? The Delrita have long been through their eyes. We have Camelot. Your will shall be done.
The moot will not happen, my king. This you were strong enough to walk the king's thread. What is your will, my king? What decision? Glory be to you, once and future king. Thanks to you, Camelot will fall, and with it the dead lord. Thank you, my king, for your... I, the voice of the Dalrida tribes. Yes?
Come here. Step closer. So, you're a real... You've seen a thing or two. That man and the capital. How's the old wolf do? Don't keep careful. Oi, you, stranger. Got a minute?
So, you finally made it. Took you long enough. I hope you're ready, because this is it. The beginning of the end. Ready to finish your journey, of course. You've come far, but every path ends somewhere. You're... Philosophically, not you specifically, but someone like you. Literally. This is the Charred Conclave, a graveyard for druids, burned alive as scapegoats for the Red Death. It's a reminder of what happens when people... They spoke out. They should have stayed silent, kept their hurt. They believed their ancient knowledge, ugly and painful truths from times long past. But people don't want the truth when it... Cruel rituals, sacrifices. They called it wisdom, knowledge gleaned from the weird. But to the people, everything they did was unnatural. The druids believed their results would justify the costs. They thought Avalon would see them as saviors. But the people didn't understand, and fear turned. Well, the Red Church and their politicians made sure of that. The druids became a convenient enemy, a way to shift. It's always so... simple, so banal, isn't it? Well, death doesn't always mean an ending. It was a sacrifice so costly, so cruel, and so you're the closest you'll ever come to seeing the true shape of this world. To greet you, I was once where you are now, a knight with... and here I found my answer. Well, first, you're going to meet my former employer. We don't see eye to eye anymore, but we both realize that our He'll try to sugarcoat the hard truths I've been telling you from the beginning. Spin them differently. Why waste time here talking about it when you're just a step? Just remember, this is the point of no once you've stepped through, there's no... But if you've come this far, I suppose you already knew that. Go on. Go on.
At last we meet. I've heard much about you. Your choices, your determination. Caradoc isn't easily impressed, but he was impressed with you. Few dare to seek the truth buried in Avalon shadows. Fewer still make it this far. I was the first. Caradoc followed when my brethren burned and the tear opened. And now, here you are. Oh, forgive my lack of manners. I am Orin, the last apprentice. I've carried the weight of this land's secrets longer than I care to admit. But names mean little. What matters is the task. What lingers here, it's older than Avalon. Older than anything we know. Its purest form. Raw potential. Unshaped by anything but its lack. Oh, precisely the opposite of what Caradoc wants. I want you to help me resurrect King Arthur. Ridiculous, I know. But yes, that's what it boils down to. At some point, we stop seeing eye to eye. Ultimately, though, both our paths. Yes, please let me explain. By the end of his life, Arthur became obsessed with his legacy. He left mementos, artifacts that embodied the virtues he wanted out. Excalibur, a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. But Merlin and the others didn't believe that would be enough. The memory of war and the fragility of peace was still, so they acted. When the king died, his soul wasn't allowed to move on. It was shattered. A clever solution, but ultimately flawed. They feared losing what Arthur represented more than losing Arthur himself. They thought the king's essence would endure. You can't pick and choose with a soul, but that's exactly what Merlin did. He focused on 3 parts of Arthur. His strength, he left out 2 pieces. One, tainted by the Four Dwellers' magic, was deemed too dangerous. Merlin thought compassion and doubt were weaknesses, unfit for a king. Without them, Arthur, that way Avalon's greatest. I tried, and I found his humanity. It's here, bound, kept safe. But the Four Dwellers' aspects was left to drift, untethered, but finding it needed more than magic. It needed someone. The horrors you endured on that island gave you something no one else has. You can move through the weirdness, touch it, and return home. That's why you found the king's soul. Bound it to yourself. You flatter me. No, I couldn't have predicted all of that. I merely nudged the red church. I can see you're still doubting me. I want to bring back our king, whole and complete. I want him to lead again and safeguard Avalon's. It won't. This time, Arthur will be whole. A king must be more than power. Because I've seen what happens without him. Weirdness preys on the weak, and the people are too divided to stand against it alone. Ever they're left without him, without guidance, chaos takes hold. Division festers. If things continue this way, Avalon will tear itself apart long before weirdness finishes the... They will follow him. That's what people do. When weirdness comes to the... Help me bring the king back, whole and complete. Now you need to go further. I made my case. This is the only way.
I was there when it all began. When we believed in him, in his dream, in his king. Every battle felt like a step closer to peace. Every sacrifice. But then came the cost. The war crimes. We turned from knights into butchers. At first I told myself it was that. Arthur wasn't a god, a savior, or a king, and no man should have the power. But do you understand why? I'd like to believe that after 600 years You need to understand that people thought, and still think, that he was more than he... But he wasn't. He made mistakes, just like any man. I've seen what happens when people cling to kings and myths. They wait, they follow. But that's not my problem. I'm not here to fix Avalon, or to free anyone. What comes after doesn't matter. Let it all burn. Let it rot. Let it rebuild. Arthur's the only myth that still holds weight. And when he's gone, a puppet king, another empty throne, none of it will... Maybe they'll keep pretending for a while. Maybe... Let them stand, let them fall. It's not my concern. If the weirdness takes them, so be it. At least it won't be another king's failure. Another lie propping up a dying world. It'll just be... Call it chaos, call it freedom, I don't care. Let them rise, let them fall. Let them tear each other apart. I just want to watch it all come down. To see the last lie collapse under its own... What comes after? That's for the... Then let it. If this world can't stand without a dead king propping it up, maybe it deserves to... I've lived longer than any man should. Seen more than anyone should ever bear. And we'll never know if that's true, because we've never tried. And who ever said that we were meant to survive? We were fools to tamper with forces we didn't understand. Resurrecting Arthur, infusing him with powers of the weirdness. We didn't just... Such violations of nature's order cannot go unanswered. The bill, this cannot be allowed. Listen, it's taken longer than I ever imagined. But now, here we are. You've brought Arthur's soul back together. Almost complete, but not quite. And so, thank you. You're close now. Just one more step. The last fragment of Arthur's soul is and then we'll meet again. Go. Find the last piece, and let's end this. Whatever...
You've come. The one who carries what's left of me. Please, don't come any closer. Don't force me to think about coming back again. Just let me finally die. Because I've had enough. Enough of being torn apart and stitched back together. Enough. Do you know what it is like to be a king of nothing? To see the people you swore to protect. I've seen towns burnt to the ground, families destroyed, all because someone thought it would serve the greater good. I've been dragged through every dream, every lie they've built around me. And I'm tired. And most of all, Orin wants a king, not me. He doesn't see the broken man behind the myth. He sees, but symbols aren't people. They're empty. And the more they're used, the more they hollow out the one who carries them. That's all. Do you know what it's like to be a weapon? To be forged, sharpened? He thinks ending me will free Avalon. But what then? Without an idea, a light to guide, people always seek something to follow. Take that away, and they'll tear each other apart trying to find it. Or worse, build something even crueler in it. I want release. I want to stop being a tool. Kill me. Destroy the last piece of me and use the energy however you wish. Take it yourself and become the new king. Give it to someone else. I don't care. Just Don't let me come. Let me die. Not as Arthur. Isn't that what you've been doing all along? Carrying what's left of him? You've already taken up the humanity I... Doesn't that prove Arthur doesn't... Another way? There's always another way, isn't there? Another cycle, but please. Not for me. Not anymore. I don't care. Do you know how freeing that is? To finally not care what happens next? Whether Orin gets his king? To not feel the burden of all my failures? To not see my memory tarnished? My plans, goals, and ambitions? To not see the suffering my name causes? No more deaths in my shadow. Do what you think is right. That's all I can tell you. Because whatever you... And that's the only thing I've ever wanted. You hold the choice. I don't care who you side with. Orin, Caradoc, or no one at all. You have... I don't even want to. Just let me go. Let me die.
Help me bring the king back, whole and complete. Now you need to go further. I made my case. This is the only...
Go on. Go on.
Let me go.
You carried a dying king across the bones of a dying world. Now you stand before what started it all. An idea. I am the reason there must be an ending. I do not guide. I do not judge. I exist so that something can be chosen. I do not offer meaning. I require that one be made. You have brought all things to their conclusion. Now, decide what must remain. Choose, and let the shape of the world follow. You will vanish into the story you chose to restore. You will break the frame, and what follows will not remember you. You will be seen. You will be followed. You will shape the world to become its witness. Then the idea shall endure, unquestioned.
I begged you not to do this. I begged you.
No. I won't let this happen. Not again.
Through your sacrifice, the king returned, entire, unbroken, and ready to reclaim his throne. You held faith that Avalon's fate still turned with him, that one last rising could bring balance to the broken land. Now he rules again, and the world bends to the weight of your choice, for salvation or for ruin. You gave everything to restore the king, and your journey ended with his return. Closing your eyes upon the sight of Arthur's triumph, you felt no regret, only the certainty that your final choice had been the right one. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working side by side, the South found a peace it hadn't known in years. The roads stayed open, the fields were guarded, and the people finally felt safe. No longer bound to Camelot or the Knights of the Round Table, it became a land ruled by its own people on its own terms. Because of you, the men here remained and the Kuanacht endured, not just as a place, but as a legacy of quiet defiance and hope. Lord Yvain was remembered as a hero who gathered the wise and set out in search of the Grail, while Kuanacht stood as a peaceful haven amid the weirdness. You awakened the giants, and with them at their side, the Dal Rita conquered Camelot. As the capital fell, the customs of the tribes spread across Avalon. Not everyone welcomed them, but the change had already taken root. Firgas was named the new Galahad the Loyal. With One Eye and Brendan backed by the Dal Rita, the Forlorn Swords, he saw that the South's alliance was strong enough to stand on its own. He urged Camelot to leave the South in peace and turned his attention to securing the rest of Avalon. The captain led the South to independence, breaking all ties with Camelot. Under his rule, the Horns of the South flourished. Merchants, pilgrims, and adventurers returned to the roads, and prosperity once again reached the far corners of the land. One Eye ruled the South, with the Horns of the South at his side. Over time, the Dal Rita of the Fallen Swords rallied to his banner, forging a unified force. With the South secured, he stood in a strong position to launch future conquests across Avalon. Nianta left Kuanacht with Yvain, and her fate remained unknown. Yet among the people she once served, tales of her devotion and courage endured, and her name was remembered with respect. Maggot left Kuanacht alongside Yvain, surprising many who had long considered him harmless and weak. His fate remained unknown, but in time, the people spoke proudly of the last druid, claiming him as one of their own. Urfre left Kuanacht alongside Yvain, despite concerns about his age. His fate remained unknown, but the people admired him for finding purpose at the end of his life, and spoke of him with lasting respect. Ailey turned to the merchants for support, and for a time the hospital prospered. But when they began charging patients for care, she walked away and opened her own small practice, refusing to serve profit over healing. After returning to Camelot, Killian lived quietly for a time. When he vanished, few asked questions. Unsettling rumors had always followed him, and most preferred not to remember.
Go on.
Now I do not. You now shoot. You will break. You will be. You will shape. Then the idea shall fall, its weight discarded, its rule denied. But the soul is not yet yours to give. First, it must be purified of what still...
Thank you. But promise me, you will win this fight, my friend.
After everything you've seen, you side with Caradoc. Then all the suffering, all the pain, meant nothing. I am disappointed. Now I am complete. Avalon will be reborn. Perfect this time.
You brought down the cycle with steady hands and no promise of glory. You did not claim the throne. You buried it. There is no king now. Only the truth you made and the path others may follow. You had no answers, only scars and the will to keep walking. And sometimes that was enough to keep others going too. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working, Feargas was named the new. Nianta left Kuan. Ailey turned to the merc. After returning to I do you now. You will break the. You will be. You will shape the world. Then the idea shall be claimed, its shape worn, its burden made. But first, you have to bring silence to.
If this is what you want, then take it, my friend. But probably.
No, I won't let this happen. Not again.
You think any other human could wield this power? I endured 600 years of pain, of suffering, of loneliness. I made the sacrifices, me! And now you think you can take it from me? The hubris. No. I reject your claim. I will reforge Avalon. Perfect this time.
You took Arthur's power for yourself. Whatever drove you, need, ambition, or will alone, the strength of a king was now yours to command. Maybe you weren't ready. Maybe nobody ever is. But you decided to try. It's a heavy thing, trying to do right where others have failed. Still, you stepped forward, carrying the soul and every choice that brought you here. You ruled not as Arthur reborn, but as yourself, flawed, resolute, untested. Avalon changed beneath your hand, and history will decide what that truly meant. With one eye and Feargas was Nianta left. Ailey turned. After returning, you carried. Now I do not. You have now. Choose. You will break. You will be. You will shape. Then the idea, but the soul is not yet yours to give. First,
If this is what you want, then so be it.
No.
You think any I endured? And now, no. I
You gave the soul to another, not to escape its weight, but because you believed they could carry it. One person, chosen by you, to bear the burden and to shape what comes next. Whatever future rises from their rule will bear your seal, for it was your will that set it in motion. Without the power of Arthur to sustain you, your body fell back into the endless rot of the Red Death. With only a few weeks of life remaining, you withdrew into isolation, finding a quiet place from which to watch the kingdom you had helped forge anew. You entrusted Arthur's soul to Captain Brandon, a leader who built Avalon's future on autonomy, trade, and secular law. As prosperity grew, faith faltered. To many, it was progress, but to the devout, it marked the loss of moral order and the rise of unchecked ambition. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working, Feargas was. Nianta left. Ailey turned. After returning to Camelot,